Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Is there a legitimate argument that XRP, in the earliest of days, even just back then, is there a reasonable argument that XRP actually was at any point in time a security? Well, an attorney within the XRP community, none other than Jeremy Hogan, who runs the YouTube channel Legal Briefs, has broached that exact topic. And it's something that I've talked about in the past, but I want to break this down into a little bit more detail and share my personal perspective about this, because this is actually something that I brought up way before the SEC ever went after Ripple. Also, I want to cover a story from Crypto Newsflash here. Well, it was covered by many outlets, but this is the one that I picked because I like the way that it was written. But this from Crypto Newsflash titled, "More Trouble for Binance as Brian Brooks Resigns as Binance US CEO." Now, this is something that I've been tracking for a few days now, and so you may have heard about this. I haven't talked about it on my channel yet. But there's a new development, and the CZ, the founder and CEO of Binance, has actually spoken out on this, and it's fascinating because, like, you're talking about in a span of several months, losing 2 CEOs for Binance US. What are the implications of this, and what is going on? And actually, the first CEO, by the way, she is missing. She is, in fact, here, I'll just show you the headline now. I've actually covered the story in the past. This is from July 16th. I'm not going to go through this article in this video because I have already thoroughly covered this, but here's the title from Decrypt. "Where is Catherine Coley? Crypto world puzzled by disappearance of former Binance US chief." But before I go any further, I do want to be clear that I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related stuff, but it's purely as a hobby. And so there was a tweet from an XRP community member named XRP Daddy, who wrote, "Hello, Jeremy Hogan. Is there a legit argument that XRP was sold as a security at one point? From what I understand, XRP was never a security." And that's a totally legit question. Now, Jeremy Hogan actually did chime in, and he shared his following thoughts. "I think there is an argument that XRP sold by Ripple in 2015 through 2017 was sold as a security under United States law. This will be an argument made by expert witnesses as to decentralization, utility, etc. But I just don't see even an argument to be made from 2018 through present." So let me pause right there. Excuse me. The reason that he's breaking it out within those various time frames is because there is this idea, and it's a totally legit idea, that as a cryptocurrency becomes increasingly decentralized, that the ecosystem is no longer reliant upon a common enterprise. Now, the reason that it's important that it's no longer at that point, if there's sufficient decentralization, reliant upon a common enterprise, is because that's one of the several prongs of the Howey test, which is the test that the SEC has been utilizing since 1946 to determine whether or not something constitutes a security, an investment contract. So this is of the utmost importance. And so the case could be made, and Jeremy Hogan here, he's simply stating that there's an argument. He's not saying that it is the case. He's saying there's an argument to be made that sales of XRP from Ripple in those earlier days, because perhaps there's less of a developed ecosystem surrounding XRP, fewer developers, this or that. The XRP ledger itself, although not even centralized at that point, I would say, I'm not going to put words in Jeremy's mouth, but I would say even then the XRP ledger was decentralized, but even though it was decentralized back then, it was more centralized than it is now because the control spread out among a larger number of validators. And so again, not that Ripple necessarily had special permissions. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying as you add more validators, the control is spread out even further globally. That's all that I mean by that. And so then if you're talking about from 2018 onward, well, damn. I mean, sure, 2018, that's when on-demand liquidity went live. Isn't it amazing? It's already been a few years. I mean, that was, the beginning of October, I believe, of 2018. And but since then, it's not just that, though. Yes, that's awesome. That shows real utility. But there's all sorts of other use cases. You can talk about coil. You can talk about people utilizing XRP in place of fiat currency. Like there's no shortage of use cases for it. And so, yeah, as the XRP ledger has become increasingly decentralized, it's just that much easier to argue there is no common enterprise, and people purchasing XRP today clearly have no investment contract with Ripple. And hopefully we all understand that at this point. But it gets more interesting, and it is more complex than that. And I'm going to play a little bit of devil's avocado in just a moment. But let me share with you a few comments, perspective from other XRP community members who responded to what Jeremy Hogan wrote right there. Here's a tweet from XRP community member, Dictator Know-It-All. I don't see how there is even a remote chance XRP was ever a security. By law, XRP was created by founders who were the primary holders and then distributed it to Ripple. Ripple are secondary market, not primary. What Ripple do with it after is up to Ripple. And then Janet Yellen responded to that and wrote the following. That's the whole point of corporations. They are separate entities. Even if there are no common executives/employees, unless the veil is pierced, there is no connection. The SEC and Ripple critics seem to be completely oblivious to these facts. And then Dictator Know-It-All responded to Janet Yellen and wrote the following. Exactly. So why is this even in court? With a little shrug emoji. The SEC's first allegation is wrong, saying Ripple created XRP, because Ripple didn't create XRP, not even primary distributors of it. It invalidates all the other SEC allegations. And so this is where I want to jump in, and I'm going to give you my very honest opinion. And I remember the first time I talked about this, I don't remember exactly what time it was, but I remember talking about this because I was thinking to myself, I was like, I wonder if I say what I want to say because it is what I believe, if people in the XRP community that hear this will be none too pleased with me. And as it turns out, like I was embraced, and so I was thankful of that. But I'll tell you what, I'm not going to censor myself when it comes to my opinions about Ripple and XRP and crypto. Like, it is what it is. And if somebody doesn't like what I'm saying, well, first of all, I appreciate diversity of thought. So if I think you're wrong about anything having to do with any of the topics we're discussing here, that doesn't mean I don't respect you. That doesn't mean I think less of you. It doesn't mean from my perspective that we can't be friends. But I understand sometimes when people hear things that don't really jive with them, they can be offended, or they can think that the person communicating the ideas that don't jive with them, they can think that person's stupid. Sometimes people jump to conclusions like that. And so as I've learned as I've gotten older and older, I'm 38 years old now, that it's not best to jump to such a conclusion, because we're all humans and we can all make mistakes. We're all fallible. And it's better to, if somebody challenges an idea that you have, unless there's clear reason that to believe that they're actually being intentionally like abrasive and trying to offend you, which sometimes is the case. A lot of times it is actually. But if they're not doing that, it's better to just be more curious and ask them why they believe what they're believing, because there's a chance that you could find out that you're wrong too. It's reasonable. Like that happens, absolutely. And so I had thoughts on this exact topic. And I was wondering, like, I wonder if people are going to be none too pleased with me after I share what I'm absolutely going to share. And so, because here's the perspective that I've had. Look, I don't believe for a moment that XRP today represents an investment contract. We don't have a contract with Ripple. We don't own shares of the company by purchasing XRP. Nothing of the sort. Of course, XRP today is not a security. There are so many participants within the XRP ecosystem that have serious stakes at play. Many of them have nothing to do with Ripple. There are people that hold XRP today that don't even know Ripple exists. And so you look at that, and it's like, to me, it could not be more clear that there is not a common enterprise at this stage in the game. Now, earlier on, you can make the argument that Dictator Know-It-All and Janet Yellen made, and I get the argument. They're saying, look, and it is true, by the way, what they stated in terms of XRP existing, because it was created by David Schwartz and Arthur Brito and Jed McCaleb. Those three created it, and then months later, Ripple was created. And so you can sit there in terms of like a technicality. Yeah, it is true. Like, I'm not disputing that, to be clear. XRP existed. I've stated it many, many, many times on this channel for years, because it is just a matter-of-fact statement. XRP existed, then Ripple existed. But you could sit here thinking, okay, But isn't that just kind of like a way to find a quick loophole or some kind of way to skirt the system? Because if it's the case that a company creates a cryptocurrency and then they distribute it, if that clearly constitutes some sort of investment contract, and by the way, I said if it constitutes, so I'm still not ceding the point that Ripple didn't talk about. If it constitutes the fact that Ripple did create an investment contract, well then how is it okay to clearly skirt the system by creating the cryptocurrency and then the same people create the legal entity after? Isn't that a fair critique? Isn't that a fair way to play a little bit of devil's avocado right there, don't you think? I think so. I think because if that's all you have to do to get out of this, then people would learn from that. And the SEC is like, oh gosh, you got us there. Then all that would happen is people would just do the Ripple and they'd create the coin and then they'd create the company. But it's just so that slight variance in order of doing stuff now makes it like if it's the same people, it's the same people. And so again, this is not me arguing that even at that point, like the year that Jeremy Hogan cited, 2015 to 2017, I'm not saying that Ripple sold it as an illegal security. But I'm just bringing up what I think is a very valid point. And I brought it up probably over a year before this case was brought. And luckily, the XRP community, they like the vast majority of you out there value diversity of thought and a little bit of critical thinking, a little bit of devil's avocado. And so I thank you for that because I enjoy that as well. I like lively debate and diversity of thought. So I shared that, and it was good to see that I was still embraced, but I'm still not going to hold back. Like, whatever my opinions are, like the other day I put out a video where I was tearing apart the idea of XRP ever hitting $10,000, and some people hated that. But I'm not going to hold back because then I'd just be disingenuous. I'm not going to be a watered down moon Lambo. Like, I'm not saying it to like crap on your dreams or anything, but I think it's fun to talk about this stuff. I think it's worth it. I think it's valuable to share ideas. And if you think I'm wrong, that's perfectly fine. If you think I'm wrong, I'm not offended by the fact that you're telling me I'm wrong. Just be tactful about it, articulate your case, and then I think you're awesome. Even if I disagree with you, I'll still think you're awesome. If you're a tactful adult and articulate a position opposite mine, cool. I think you're totally badass. I really mean that. So on this particular front here, though, I got to admit, I'm just sitting here thinking, so this is the loophole, then why, if this is okay, why not everybody just do that? And then no more charges against anybody. Like, so to me, that doesn't necessarily seem to jive. But that's what was done. Now, I do understand, if you go back to the rationale for this, it's not necessarily that Ripple's trying to skirt the system quite in that way. It's that in terms of getting VC funding, and I've seen this discussed in the past, in terms of getting VC funding, because the risks were unknown, it's like, okay, if there's a company that is creating a cryptocurrency, like you're not getting, well, at least not as easily. You can still get VC funding, but you're not as easily going to get VC funding, and there are additional risks, right? And so fine, Ethereum Foundation, they took it on. They're like, okay, whatever, we're going to do it anyway. I got it. They had an ICO in 2014. I understand that. With Ripple, they understood the risks, and it seems like they just didn't want to engage in that. And I get it. I respect it. And so it was such early days. This is why I'm not being like super critical of Ripple for any of this. It's like there wasn't clarity. You didn't know for sure if the SEC would come after you for any number of things or any other part of the federal government. You just didn't know. And so I'm not being overly critical here. I promise you I'm not. But I am also acknowledging the point that if in order to not get accused by the SEC of selling an unregistered security, all you have to do is create the cryptocurrency and then start the company. Like, come on, guys. That would be the easiest way out, and then everybody would just do it. But you're not seeing that replicated because that's clearly not a way out. That's what I think anyway. So if you think that I'm wrong, totally willing to be proven wrong, just to articulate your position, and that's perfectly fine. But no, I'm... Again, hopefully it doesn't even need to be said at this point, but I am Mr. XRP Bull for a reason. I am pro Ripple. I think that the history will prove that they're on the right side of things, and even if they end up paying a settlement for this or that just to get this all behind them, fine. That really won't bother me a whole lot. It really won't. And then there was also this. Somebody named Brybo wrote the following. In my experiences of hiring lawyers, I was the client and nothing was presented without my knowledge and consent. My question is, who is the SEC lawyer's client? Or are they just loose cannons? And Jeremy Hogan, attorney, did respond, and he wrote, that's a great question. seem that the client is the SEC itself, but the chain of command is strange. I'm researching this, but the buck seems to stop with the director of enforcement, a position that has been unfilled for a while. The new director starts this week. And that was a tweet, by the way, from July 18th, so a few weeks back. But the timeline doesn't matter. It's an interesting question, right? They're like, who is the client? Well, obviously, it is the SEC, but like, who specifically are they reporting to here? Because look, the reasons for the SEC doing what they're doing, we've been speculating about it to no end. And we should be. I honestly, I think that a bit of healthy speculation it's a very good thing, because the SEC has been behaving in such an illogical fashion, unethically also. All we can do is sit here and try and pick through the publicly available information that we have and be like, why in the ever-loving hell are they being a bunch of asshats? That's all we can do right here. All right, into the next piece. From Crypto News Flash, more trouble for Binance as Brian Brooks resigns as Binance US CEO. Things just can't seem to stop going wrong for the embattled king of cryptocurrency exchanges, Binance. The exchange has now lost one of its leaders, just 3 months since he took the helm. Brian Brooks has resigned as the CEO of Binance US, citing differences over the strategic direction, even as the exchange continues to face unceasing pressure from regulators worldwide. Brooks took to Twitter to announce that he had stepped down from his role, and he tweeted out the following. Letting you all know that I have resigned as CEO of Binance US. Despite differences over strategic direction, I wish my former colleagues much success. Exciting new things to come. And so then that brings us to this, and I'm not going to run through this article here, but I do want to highlight Catherine Coley, who, by the way, is a former Ripple employee. She became the CEO of Binance US. And I believe it was maybe roughly mid-April that she ended up getting ousted. And we're not privy to all of the specifics, but she was ousted, and Brian Brooks replaced her. And it's a bit alarming to see that in such short order now he's departed. And it's not just that. We've seen governments the world over come after Binance, and it's got a bunch of different branches and tentacles out there, so it's not just one legal entity. They're all over the world, though. And it's been fascinating to see the degree to which Binance has been, seemingly anyway, intentionally skirting the system. That's what the optics are. And why do I say that? Well, let me show you why I say that. Take a look at this article from the Daily Huddle. Binance CEO unveils new approach to compliance amid regulatory setbacks. Check this out. Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao says the cryptocurrency exchange is taking a proactive approach towards regulatory compliance. Zhao states in a tweet that Binance is pivoting after weeks of facing multiple regulatory setbacks across the globe. And by the way, they've been intense and from multiple countries. Serious problems. And here's the quote. Binance pivoting from reactive compliance to proactive compliance. Stay tuned. And it's like, again, this is coming from CZ, the CEO of Binance. And you read that, and it's just like, freaking facepalm, are you kidding me? And I wasn't aware of all the specifics. It's not something that I was keeping up to date with in some sort of intense level. I had no reason to. It certainly wasn't on my radar or pretty much anybody's. But to see this comment from CZ, can you see how this is problematic? Because again, the quote is, Binance pivoting from reactive compliance to proactive compliance. Stay tuned. You know what that means, right? Can you read between the lines? I'll tell you right now. That means that they were seeing how far they could just get away with whatever they were doing. They were basically conducting business the way they wanted to do it, and then waiting for governments to come after them. And now they are all at once. It's like a domino effect. Like they're all noticing, oh, wait a minute, that government in that other country is going for Binance? What are we doing here with Binance in our country? And then it's just domino after domino after domino. And now they're dealing with a veritable S-word storm. Like they absolutely are. It's bad and it's dangerous and scary. I don't know what the ramifications are going to be. I hope they're able to navigate this and come out better on the other side. But the fact that their policy effectively, as he's stating here, he's admitting it. Their policy, the way that they were conducting business, is to go about our business, wait for the government to come down on us, and then react. That's what the word reactive means. And now they're being proactive, which means we're no longer going to wait for the hammer to come down on us. We're going to intentionally try to comply with law. Well, why the hell weren't you doing that in the first place? That is absurd. That's kind of freaking scary. You're talking about Binance. That's the largest cryptocurrency exchange on the planet by volume. And this is the way that they were approaching crypto markets. Alarming much? You see what I'm saying here? And so Catherine Colley's gone, Brian Brooks is gone, two incredible people in the world of crypto, both gone now. I gotta sit here and wonder, whose fault is it? Is it theirs? I'm skeptical of that. And we're not privy to the inside stuff here, but I gotta tell you, like that. I know it's one sentence here, but that is telling, is it not? You tell me what you think, but I'll wrap up here. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say are right. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.